For anyone whose commute includes Seymour Street in downtown Vancouver, specifically a certain stretch towards Nelson, you may already be familiar with the neon marquee outside the legendary Penthouse Nightclub. These days, the humorous slogans and double-entendres that its tile lettering spells out seem to get more attention than the venerable club itself. Now, the grabbiest of those attention-seeking messages have been collected in a new book. It's called A Sign of the Times, The Best of the Penthouse Marquee. And here to talk about it are co-authors Benjamin the Sign Guy Jackson, historian Aaron Chapman, as well as Penthouse owner Danny Filippone. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having us.
All right. I don't usually do group interviews, so I'll ask some questions. We'll see how it goes here.
Yeah.
These signs have been around for years, but have really only picked up traction more recently thanks to social media. This question is for the group. Anyone wants to go first? Why come out with the book now?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on your show, John. It's great to have you, see you. The Penthouse Marquee, as you mentioned, has been around for decades and decades. The Penthouse Marquee was on Seymour Street as early as the 50s and 60s. And even in the 70s and 80s, we always had signs on the Penthouse slogans, but it was more generic, like who was playing and book your stag now. So it was very platonic. It wasn't up until about 10 years ago when Ben Jackson, the sign guy, came on board and really sort of turned the heat up, as we say. I had said to the staff and Ben and Aaron that I was getting so many requests. I couldn't go anywhere in Vancouver, whether it was shopping or just going for a morning walk, without someone stopping me and saying, who does your sign and what's going to be on it next week? And I finally said to myself and to everyone else, guys, we're going to do a book. It's time.
Okay. Danny, something you mentioned in your introduction to the book, I wanted to ask you about, as you say, all this attention about the neon marquee, something your dad or your uncles could have never imagined in their day. How surreal does it feel to have something associated with the Penthouse be so embraced by the city?
Yeah, that's a great comment, because for many years I've been working here at the Penthouse for 45 years, my pretty much my entire life, and half of my life has been spent battling the image of the Penthouse, and whether it's with the police or politicians, and everything that the Penthouse has done and stood for over the years. It's only in the last 20 years, maybe 25 years, where everything has turned in our favor, from not just the sign, but from our original book that Aaron did, Liquor, Lust, and the Law, up into the tours that we do and all these private events. But it's the sign that has really changed the way that Vancouverites feel. And for me personally, there's nothing greater knowing that when I drive down Seymour, when I run into a friend, that people comment on the sign, and it's just so rewarding that everyone now has the same feeling that I have. That it's great.
I think it's a testament too that Danny's now being inducted to the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame. That's just another step in kind of the public's perception of the Penthouse has changed. It's not the 1970s anymore, and some of the attitudes that the city had about the place now. It's a completely different world, and I think the city has kind of grown up along with the Penthouse with it.
Aaron, this has to be something of a full circle moment for you. Danny just mentioned a moment ago, Liquor, Lust, and the Law. Here we are, many years and many books later, and we're back talking about the Penthouse. How does it feel to be back and talking about the marquee, of all things?
It's great. I have to think some of my UBC history professors are wondering about how much time I'm spending at the Penthouse and writing books about the place. But this place, it's odd to think about sometimes, but the Penthouse really captures a certain period of modern history within the city too. And the sign has become, it's not just the Penthouse's sign. I always say it's kind of become Vancouver's sign. And some of the messages that Ben has come up with have sort of become the conscience of Vancouver at times. I mean, there's a lot of jokes and stuff like that, but that pass by, but there's a lot of sort of humor. And it's never mean-spirited. It's always sort of a good-natured thing that even I think some of the people who have been targeted by the sign could laugh along with it.
All right. Speaking of the man of the hour, the book wouldn't be possible without the wit and whimsy of Ben the Sign Guy. Clearly, this is something that snowballed well beyond anyone's imagination. Take me through how it started, Ben. You began working at the club in 2015, and you say this started out as a way to make you and your friends laugh.
Yes, sir. Exactly that. When I first approached Danny and our GM at the time about putting the first marquee up, I don't know if people remember, it would have been the Pokemon Go craze that was going on, but it was released in America a week before us. So we knew it was coming, and I had the idea for changing the sign to rare Pokemon inside. And that was going to be the joke. And our GM at the time was a little hesitant to, it was all very new. But it was that very first one that essentially went viral and opened the door to allow me to keep having fun with it.
And there were people coming by trying to get the club in the daytime.
Yeah, there was daytime, nighttime. I specifically remember getting out of an Uber, and there was people out front, and the doormen were kind of laughing, and they said, "Talk to this guy." And it was a couple, mom and dad with a child, 8 or 9 years old, that they said, like, the kid's obviously not going to come in, but can the dad come in, catch the Pokemon, and then come back out? And I was like, it's a joke. I don't think there's any Pokemon inside.
But when Ben first started the sign, we had come to an agreement that we were going to stay away from political stuff. We just wanted to make fun. But as soon as certain people got into office, it got to the point where we couldn't resist. And so it got to the point where, not only was Ben talking about the presidency of the United States, but he was talking about our hockey teams and just local stuff and musicians. So everything was sort of at that point on the table.
Ben, is that kind of the secret sauce of the sign, sort of making it a mirror back to the city? What are the essential ingredients of a good Penthouse Marquee slogan, in your opinion?
Well, first things first, it's there's 40 characters on that sign, including spaces, which means 20 per line. And that's my rule of thumb, basically, is you can kind of, even if I have a joke in my head, I can kind of tell you right off the bat if it's going to fit or not. Because like any good joke, you can't take away too much from it, or else it's just going to lose,
Loses its zest.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have a list in my phone that it's years old now, and if you can scroll until your thumb gets sore. And basically it's whether it's a funny word or even half of a joke or a punchline, I kind of just write it down. And once I write it in my phone, I feel like it's in my head. And it just there's no rhyme or reason to it when it hits me. Like I've said to people in the past, I could be getting up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, or out with friends for dinner, and something just hits me, and I'm just constantly jotting stuff in my phone. And anytime something comes up, like within the world, if it's big news or something, I cross-reference the list to see if any of the things I've written down previously will match what's going on in the world today.
Ben's list is so big, John, that he shows me on occasion, what's on the docket. And half of them are just, believe me, non-applicable. I said that these will be offside, but you can tell when he's onto something. He keeps pressing, and then sure, we bounce things off. I say you're there, you've got it, and then sure enough, within a day or two, I look at it, that's the one, you've got it.
And the best thing is now you, the reader out there, can be your own sign guy, because in the back of the book, there's a sign that you can make, and there's a letter set, and you can take some of Ben's tips and advice. And we're sort of encouraging readers who pick up the book to make their own signs and see what they come up.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Let me go around the room here. What's your favorite sign in the book? Starting off with you, Danny.
Well, one of the best ones. I'm a huge sports fan, so I'm always interested in the sports. And that evening when Bo Horvat was just about to be traded, and he got traded, and he was interviewed by the announcer right after the game, and he said some really nasty things to the fan. I was working that night, and we all were sort of scrambling what to do. And Ben wanted to put something very rude about Horvat, but we said, let's just tone it down. So he ended up doing blank, blank, you Horvat, and we put it on the marquee. It got back not only to Horvat, but to the New York Islanders and the NHL. So that was a good one too.
Ben, your favorite sign?
As for me, probably one that was recently. I think everybody remembers that CEO who got caught having the affair at that Coldplay concert. I had the idea. I knew we wanted to do something about it, and I bounced it off a friend. I said, Chris Martin's name's a little too long to put in it. My friend said, no, you just have to use Coldplay because everybody will relate with that. So the sign ended up being, don't worry, guys, Coldplay isn't here, as a play on, no one's going to say anything if these cats.
That had 23 million hits. That was 23 million. Crazy.
Wow.
And Aaron, favorite sign?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Hey, for me, it's the one that's up there right now on Seymour Street, which is read the book before it's a movie. So check out, A Sign of the Times before it becomes a major motion picture.
Yeah.
What do you folks hope people get out of the book?
Well, when we decided that we were going to do the book, obviously one of the first things that crossed my mind, who's going to buy the book? And it didn't take me long to realize that pretty much I would say everybody in Vancouver has either seen the sign, driven by the sign, or talked about it. So I think when they pick up the book, they're going to feel like you said, Aaron. They're going to.
I think in through all the humor, and it's more humor than history for sure. In there, it's. I think you find, the book has a lot of heart and a lot of love for the city, and even just downtown Vancouver. And I think as people read it and pick it up, they'll through Danny's forward and some of his comments and some of Ben's anecdotes. So, and I think people will realize that. That the how much the Penthouse figures not only in the history of the city, but just in terms of the Filippone family and the people who work here, their love for downtown Vancouver and whatnot. And I think that it's kind of it has a sort of a nice sort of magical quality to it beyond the humor, just the humor of the sign.
I agree.
And the continuation of the reason why we started doing the sign was to make, Danny, Aaron, the staff laugh, and just to keep that going, but on a broader scale, just to have it throughout the city and shared with everybody else is the same intention we had at the beginning, just on a larger scale is more than enough for me.
And now the whole world's laughing because some of these signs have gone viral around the world. It's amazing. So Vancouver is kind of, you don't see Vancouver show up in major sort of national or international media sometimes. It's the Penthouse sign that's doing it, oddly enough. So it's kind of like seeing, for me, it's kind of like seeing a friend in a crowd that, Vancouver has sort of burst through this odd little sign on Seymour Street.
Book launch Friday, December 12th. What can folks expect?
So we've planned, this will probably be one of I think our biggest parties we had since we turned 60, which was 20 years ago. So we've got jazz, we've got Vegas girls, we've got ice sculptures. It's going to be a night of celebration. We've invited, everyone, all through the media, sports celebs, friends of mine, friends of the club. So it's going to be a who's who of Vancouver, and we're really looking forward to a great night.
And Danny's being inducted on stage that night at the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame, and Ben and I will read a couple of little excerpts or something out about the book, and it's going to be a fun night for sure. Yeah.
Let's leave it there. The name of the book is A Sign of the Times, the Best of the Penthouse Marquee. My thanks to co-authors Benjamin the Sign Guy Jackson, historian Aaron Chapman, and Penthouse owner Danny Filippone.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.